All right, guys, today I want to talk about something near and dear to my heart, and that's the Phoenix food scene. Specifically, we're going to talk about the best restaurants in all the Phoenix metro. And as a bonus, we're going to talk about the best areas of town to live in or visit if you're a foodie like myself. But before we get into the video, you're probably wondering, what is the Phoenix food scene even like? Is it Southwest or Mexican style? Like, I don't really ever hear about Phoenix food scene, so is it even good? How does it compare to cities that are really known for food like your Chicago, New Orleans, maybe even Nashville? How does Phoenix stack up? And we're gonna talk about all that today. Real quick, I'm Andrew McGuire. I'm an investment-focused real estate agent living right here in the Phoenix metro. If you're thinking about moving to the Phoenix metro, looking for a second home or even investment property, and you want to work with a savvy agent that's right here in the Phoenix area, my contact info is in the description below. Reach out anytime, and I would love to talk real estate with you. Now, with that out of the way, I'm also a self-proclaimed foodie. Me and my wife love when a new restaurant opens in the Phoenix area, and we're usually one of the first to get a reservation, get babysitters, and go try it out. And I'm here to tell you the Phoenix food scene is alive and well. And as our city continues to bustle, grow, and develop, as it has, as I mentioned in other videos, we're one of the fastest growing cities in the entire United States the last handful of years. That just means our food scene is getting better. We have people travel in from different areas of the world and country. With that, they bring their own flavors and restaurant styles. And since I moved here just over 10 years ago, Phoenix's food scene has come a long way, and it's even getting to where I believe it can compete with some of those cities mentioned like your Chicago, New Orleans, or Nashville. But it's probably gonna surprise a lot of you to know that we're not just known for Mexican food. I would say, if anything, Phoenix's food is very diverse and it's not dominated by one specific style. There's many, and we're gonna talk about some of those today. Let's start with the best steakhouse in town. And that crown goes to Bourbon and Bones. There's a couple locations. You can find one in Old Town Scottsdale, but there's also one in the Santan Village area of Gilbert. This is one of the best steakhouses I've been to, and certainly the best in the Phoenix metro. Before you get into the main course, I recommend trying the oysters. Now, I know we're talking about steakhouse here, and Phoenix isn't really known for our seafood, being here in the desert, but trust me, whether it's in Phoenix or anywhere, they've got the best oysters in town. But that's just a warm-up. If you're thirsty and thinking about having a pre-meal cocktail, it's called Bourbon and Bones for a reason. They have over 200 bourbons on the menu, many very high-end, something in the middle. Whether you're whiskey or bourbon, they've got several options. And I recommend their old-fashioned. If you're an old-fashioned guy, try theirs. It's one of the best around. Now let's get to the steaks. I've never had a bad one there, and it is some of the best. I always go with the prime. You can get a filet or you can get a larger cut, but it is one of the best steaks I've ever had. The environment's great. The food is always great. Service is up to par. If you're looking for a great steakhouse, I highly recommend trying Bourbon and Bones, whether that's in Scottsdale or Gilbert. Now, you just stepped off the plane and you're in the Southwest. Maybe you're from the Midwest or East Coast and you're thinking about getting some barbecue. Move over to Texas. Little Miss Barbecue in Tempe, right by Sky Harbor Airport, is one of the best barbecue places I've ever been to. And I lived in Houston, Texas. Little Miss Barbecue is about as close as you get. They have the brisket, the pork shoulder, they got the sausage, couple it in with some pickles. They have their in-house sauces such as the spicy. Go heavy on that, trust me, you'll love it. If you decide to go with the smoked chicken, I recommend the mustard sauce. Their sides are unbelievable, from their potatoes to the grits, you name it. If you're looking for barbecue in the Phoenix area and you decide to hit it right as you're landing in Sky Harbor, look no further than Little Miss Barbecue. But trust me, you want to get there early because there's almost always a line, and when they run out, they're closed. And trust me, you're going to be sad if you don't get into Little Miss Barbecue. You're going to smell that smoking. So I recommend getting there early if you're looking for barbecue in Phoenix. Now, let's talk about seafood here. I mentioned earlier, Phoenix is not known as a seafood town. Here, we're in the middle of the desert, but trust me, Oceans 44 stands atop any of the seafood restaurants in all of Phoenix. And I would put it on par with some of the places I've been to in Houston, when I lived in California in the Bay Area, Our seafood here in Phoenix has come a long ways. It's always fresh. Oceans 44 is one of those places. It's in Old Town Scottsdale. Now, you're going to spend a pretty penny here. It is definitely one of the most expensive restaurants in all of Phoenix, if not the most. But it's just one of those places where if you're celebrating special occasion or just want to try some of the top dining in all of Phoenix, look no further than Oceans 44. If you're here in the winter or springtime, you're probably going to see some of the celebrities, a lot of athletes. It's just one of those places where the who's who of Phoenix, or if you're visiting Phoenix, go to have one of the best meals in Phoenix. I know we're talking about seafood, but their sister restaurant started with Steak 44 is also one of the best steakhouses in town. Then they opened up Oceans 44 to specialize in a seafood variety. Many different cuts there. I love the ahi tuna steak, and I pair that in with surf and turf. You know I got to get a little steak when you're there. But their calamari appetizer, their drinks are on par with the best in town. You're looking for great seafood and thinking about throwing in a steak there, look no further than Oceans 44. It's one of the best, not only in Phoenix, but all of the United States. I'd put it up there. Now, let's move on to a different variety. Phoenix also has great Thai food, and the best in town is Charm in downtown Chandler. What I love about this place, it's a very comfortable, casual dining center. They also have a nice patio where on a nice spring or winter day, you want to sit outside and eat some great Thai food. It's right downtown Chandler, so there's many other restaurants and things to do within a short walking distance, but their Thai food is some of the best. Start with the appetizers. They have the crispy rolls and also their calamari, lightly fried, is an amazing start to a meal. As for main appetizers, I like to go with the curry coconut shrimp. That's one of the best. Be easy on the spice. Trust me, I love spice in my food, but a little goes a long ways. You'll see the ratings on their menu. If you want to press your luck, go all the way to the top. I haven't. Right in the middle has always been enough spice for me, but their curry is absolutely to die for. And if you have a hankering for something sweet, try out their sticky rice. I've only had sticky rice a couple times, but that is now one of my favorite desserts that I go to. And they have some of the best right there at Charm in downtown Chandler. Now, let's talk about Mexican. We are in the Southwest here, so we do have high standards and a lot of options for Mexican or Southwest style food. And to be up at the top of the list, you really have to know what you're doing. You really have to have a great environment, service, and most importantly, the food. Look no further than Isabella's Amor. Me and my wife love to go there, and I've been to Mexican restaurants all over town in Phoenix. Something about their spice, whether it's the beans or rice or the main course, is to absolutely die for. It's got that Southwest flavor. Just can't explain how they cook it and make it so delicious. If you're going for the main course, I highly recommend the cheese enchiladas. I definitely love a good meat, but these don't even need them. Just the cheese enchiladas themselves with the charro beans and the rice are absolutely amazing. Before you get into the main course, their chips and salsa is some of my favorite. I usually get some to go. My wife loves to have a sangria. They also have a brand new finished tequila bar that adds to the environment. There's over 100 of the top tequilas in the store right there for you to enjoy before or after your meal. If you're looking for great Mexican food and are okay with a little bit of a drive or just happen to be in the Gilbert or East Valley, Isabella's Amor is the top Mexican here in town. Now let's talk about something where I used to not try these restaurants at all, but I guess I'll classify these as health food. These are places that have salads, bowls, wraps. Normally, I don't like going to those places because I would leave feeling a little unsatisfied. You know, I'm a bigger guy. Let's face it, I got a big appetite. And when I used to go to these types of places, I would always leave and be hungry a couple hours later. This is until we discovered Flower Child. Now, there's a number of locations all over Phoenix. Usually, you're not going to be too far from a Flower Child, but their menu is absolutely one of the best and leaves you feeling like satisfied, but not too heavy. Especially, you don't want to eat too heavy on those days we get in the summer where it's 115, sometimes a little more. If you're looking for a health food variety that's flavorful, light, and satisfying, Flower Child is amazing. I love to go with their forbidden rice, which is a mix of sticky type rice with some vegetables mixed and cut up in. Usually I have enough to take home and have for lunch or another meal the next day. If you're looking for a refresher, they've got a bunch of teas and lemonades that are made in-house that aren't too full of sugar. very satisfying. And if you're looking to have a drink, a cocktail while you're there, they've got some of the best sangria. We love to get one of those if we're there in the afternoon to enjoy before or with our meal. If you're looking for healthy options but don't want to sacrifice on the flavor or getting satisfied, Flower Child is absolutely a must. It's easy on the budget and they're all over town. I highly recommend you try it out. Now let's talk about sports bars. Yes, there's a number of sports bars all over Phoenix, as there are in most big cities, but the best here in town as far as environment and food is Blue 32. There's a number of Blue 32s. They're mostly in the East Valley, but as far as the restaurant itself, the service is always great. It's a nice and clean environment. I know sometimes sports bars can get a bad rap for cleanliness and like the food not being that great, but Blue 32 is absolutely an outlier there. All of their appetizers are good. Their wings are good. I love getting the Blue 32 steak sandwich for a main course. They've got a good selection of beers and other drinks on tap. If you're looking for a great appetizer, highly recommend the Blue 32 loaded fries. They're one of my favorite meals all around. Without going into too far, this is one of the best appetizers. You usually want to bring a friend for these. You know, I've definitely taken them down myself before, but they are meant to be shareable. So if you have a friend, great. If not, if you want to go out it alone, hey, I don't judge. I do it myself. If you want to stick around and watch a game, they've got some great drinks, margaritas on tap, and also beers, as I mentioned. Great desserts. Blue 32 is one of the best options in all of Phoenix and definitely your best sports bar if you're looking for a great place to catch a game and have some great high-end food. Now that we've covered the best restaurants for the different categories in all of Phoenix, I want to talk about the best parts of town. If you're a foodie, you're traveling in and you don't know where to stay, let's go through the top 5. Number 5 on the list is Chandler, Arizona, specifically downtown. There's so many restaurants, coffee shops, all kinds of options. There's a good nightlife scene in Chandler. Everything's walking distance down there. Really safe and just an absolutely great area all around with many options. You don't think of suburbs typically having great food scenes, but Chandler is an outlier and I highly recommend it, especially if you're going to the East Valley. Now, a little closer to downtown is Midtown Phoenix. This is the area just as you cross I-10 in downtown on the north side. You're gonna run into Midtown. There's so many great options, all kinds of different cuisine. There's a lot of culture in Midtown, and with that comes a lot of different types of restaurants. They've got great seafood. They've got some Thais, some Italian, you name it. They've got many different options, and it's just all around a great part of the Phoenix Metro. If you're looking to stay a little closer to the city, highly recommend Midtown. Now, for the best high-end restaurants in all of Phoenix, you want to look at the Biltmore. It used to be that they only had like high-end restaurants in the Biltmore. It is a very, very nice and you could say luxurious part of town. With that comes some of the best restaurants in all of Phoenix, and they're pretty close together. You usually want to have a car or a driver because they're not like a really concentrated area where you can just walk to all of them. But if you're staying around the Biltmore, there's usually going to be something close. One of my favorites is Buck and Ryder. It is a seafood place, and again, you don't think about seafood in the Phoenix Metro, but Buck and Ryder is one of the best. Me and my wife are so excited because they're finally branching out and opening a location closer to us in Gilbert, Arizona, the second location. But all around, Biltmore is a great area if you're a foodie and looking for some great spots. And just to the east of that, the number 2 spot in Phoenix for food is Arcadia. You're gonna find a very wide variety. You're gonna find some pizza spots. You're gonna find some high-end dining. They got things like wine bars. They've also got a couple breweries. And one of the best there is called Oso, where there's also a number of locations. But Oso is a great brewery, great environment, and top-notch food for as far as breweries go. Look no further than Arcadia if you're looking for a great spot. Close to the city, kind of centrally located. Arcadia has it all. Now, the number 1 food spot, and this is not going to be a surprise to many of you, but that's Old Town Scottsdale. They've got sports bars, they've got high-end, everything in between, your Mexican, your Greek style, Italian. They got so many different spots in Old Town Scottsdale. You can walk pretty much everywhere down there. So if you are staying in Old Town, you're in for spring break or spring training, that's a great place to either visit or stay and have so many different restaurant options close to walking distance. So check it out. Those are the top 5 areas to stay in Phoenix if you're a foodie like me. I hope this video added some value. Now you kind of know a little bit about the Phoenix Metro food scene and where to go. Thanks to C, I put in a couple recommendations and I hope it was helpful. Now, if you're looking for coffee shops, I've also done a similar video and you can find that right here.